Hey everybody, this is the lesson of the week in our ongoing saga of our internet training here. And I thought I'd take a few minutes this week to talk to you about special handling of foreclosure deals or pre-foreclosure deals. You see, there are rules when it comes to people that are in foreclosure, and many states in the last couple of years have adopted these new rules. So I guess the major point that I want to get across to you this week is do not try to buy properties from people that are in foreclosure without checking what the rules are in your state before you proceed. Now, I'm going to give you a few examples of the rules that I'm aware of right now, so you'll kind of get a feel for how easy it would be for you to go awry of the law if you weren't up on these rules first. For example, let's take Maryland for example. The last time I looked, you could not buy a property that was in foreclosure if it was less than 20 days away from the sale, unless you have a real estate license. And if you didn't know that and you actually went out and got a contract on one 20 days away from the sale, you might be violating the law. Again, I'm not trying to tell you the law here, I'm not an attorney, but I'm telling you you should check the rules where you live. I remember Washington State. I remember reading something in their regs that says that you can't mail to someone that's in foreclosure or about to be. Now, I don't have any idea how you figure out if they're about to be. In fact, I don't even know how they come about making up some of these crazy rules that there's really no way to enforce as far as I can see. But if you lived in Washington State, you darn sure better go check those rules out. California's had a rule for quite a while that if you're buying a property from someone that's in foreclosure, that they have to have a 3-day right of rescission, and you have a special equity purchase contract that has to be completed. I will tell you that in Florida, we have rules now as well. Made a big difference in the pre-foreclosure business here. In Florida, I can't go buy a property and take over the debt subject to if it's in foreclosure. So let me explain what foreclosure means here, at least from the Florida point of view. If the property is owner occupied and it has been filed on, remember now, foreclosure must have been filed, not just behind on payments, and it must be owner occupied. So if the owner has moved out of the property, it gets kicked out of the new regs, or if they haven't been filed on and they're just behind, it gets kicked out of the regs as well, as at least the way I interpret them. So now, where I used to send out a lot of letters to people that were in foreclosure, I don't do that much anymore, because the only way I can buy a property here, if it has not gone to the courthouse steps, is if I pay cash for it. The days of taking over the debt subject to are gone. Even if I want to make the payments current, I can't do that by the new regs as long as the owner lives in the house and it has been filed on. Now, please don't construe anything that I'm talking about here to have anything to do with bank REOs. You can buy all the properties you want from banks. None of the regs apply there. There is no consumer to be protected by the new regs there, so don't get confused on this. And also then there's the pre-foreclosure status. Again, in most of the places, if they haven't been filed on, the regs don't apply, but there are a few instances where you still need to check out the provisions just to make sure you're not violating any current rules. In Texas, for example, I know that I can't sell a house on a lease purchase in Texas and take a non-refundable deposit. They just outlawed it. So if I got to sell a house in Texas, I've got to sell it on an all-inclusive trust deed, or an AITD as they call it, which means I'm selling it with owner financing. So look, every state has their own rules. And since we've had so much problem in our economy with the housing industry, they keep popping up and popping up and popping up. So wherever you live, just check with your attorney or someone that really understands these rules, like a well-heeled title agent or an escrow agent, and figure out what they are, get the right documents. If you're going to go make an offer on a property to someone in foreclosure, you better make sure you have the right agreements. In Florida, we have a whole new set of agreements if we're going to go buy a house out of foreclosure. Even if we're going to pay cash for it, if they haven't been if they haven't gone to the steps yet, we have a different contract, rescission contract, disclosures, the whole works, regardless of how we intend to buy it. Of course, again, once the foreclosure is over, all that's irrelevant. But you need to know the rules so that you don't violate them. I'm trying to keep you out of trouble here. If you just do a little bit of homework and check this out before you get out there working with people in foreclosure, it'll save you an awful lot of grief. So I hope that didn't scare you away, because there's still a ton of money out there in pre-foreclosures. I just don't want to, I want to make sure that you don't get in trouble while you're trying to go out and make the money that's available. We're in a great time to buy pre-foreclosures right now. It is a good time to be in real estate. Deals are abundant. They're everywhere, pre and post foreclosure. So just go learn the rules and go make all the money you can, and I'll see you next week on the next lesson.